example of like using 3D as your baseline to then do like very like cinematic scenes, basically. That dog is adorable. Sorry. Hello, my name is Mar and I founded an animation studio in Japan. I do commission work in the anime 2D style. And sometimes, like today, we do live streams with usually very, very interesting guests. Today, we will be speaking with Fabrice Debarge. He will say his name properly. He's in France, so very much appreciation for time zone, middle of the night. And he's the project manager at Praxinos. He explained to traditional animators how to animate in digital tools like some years ago when it was not as usual as now. And he also represented TVPaint, so really into the software industry, and introduces new technologies for biggest animation studios like Odyssey, which is what we will talk a lot about today, but also since, you know, my streams are about the animation industry and related to Japan usually, we will also talk about software and Japan, and you'll have to stay to know like the actual. Let's go into the next section of the stream because I could keep talking about this for hours. About how softwares for artists are developed. So we'll talk about like challenges and joys of production, how feedback is gathered in production and how then it's improved, and about launching products in competition with others settled in the industry. Let's start with the challenges and joys. Like, how do you actually make a new software?
Well, to answer that, maybe I have first to go within Odyssey and show you how it works and how we decided to build it step after step.
I mean, obviously, don't teach me how you did a software that took 5 years to create. It's more like,
Sure.
Okay, first, like, I don't know, maybe you gather some artists or some feedback of people and know what they want, like what's the demand, or you just have an inspiration of, wouldn't it be cool to just mix these two together? Like, how do you plan for this new software?
I will try to share some images that might help. Yeah, so this is Odyssey, and the very first version was done 3 months ago. It's compatible with Mac and Windows.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't start from nothing because we didn't have enough money to start 5 years of developments without from nothing. You can't. So we had a key partner, which is Epic Games. Epic Games, they build a lot of tools. The main one is Unreal Engine, but they also have some other tools, Twinmotion, Quixel, and so on. And just to give you an idea, with Unreal Engine, Twinmotion, Quixel, you can do video games. You can work on live films, automotive, architecture, simulation, and so many things. The fact was, when we started Praxinos, there was nothing at Epic Games working with 2D animation, or even there was no way to draw something within Unreal Engine. So that's the reason why we decided to make a partnership, and that's the way we started. We got some money from the Mega Grants program. It's a funding program to help people to develop tools, and that's how we started both the company and the development. Of course, you need a good team with you. The biggest technical challenge was integrating into Unreal Engine the simple tools as drawing, simple tools as animating, storyboarding, and we made all this step by step. I don't want to be too much technical, but I'm going to give you some steps. Well, you know, we developed this during years, etc. And the very first step was just to take into account graphic tablets. If you can't use a stylus, you can't do anything in terms of 3D animation or whatever. So you have to be compatible with all the tablets on the market, which is quite a challenge. There is not only Wacom, there are so many other brands.
Yes.
So it's done, but it's a long work.
Yes, absolutely.
Then from this, you start building the drawing tools. Once you have your painting tools, you can do several iteration of the tools. Then several tools dedicated to different purposes, like those one for getting airbrushes, cursive brushes, ink painting, and so on. We made some dedicated for Japanese people for creating manga and so on. So we had to prepare everything just for drawing.
Yes, of course.
And once everything was working on 3D, we had to jump into 3D. So we added the ability to paint not only on textures, but also directly on the 3D characters.
This I love. This I really, really love. I must say, like, how do you handle that?
Okay. I'm going to give you an example of this. So that's the use case I would like to show, because everyone is asking, how can you do that? So I'm pretty used to it.
Like, how do I shadow? Like, no.
No, it's so yeah. We started with we are working with Epic Games, and Epic Games provide the Quixel Megascans.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a huge collection of 3D assets. And we don't want something realistic. We want something which looks painted by hand. So it's just, we retrieve this as it is. And we create a 3D background. It's just adding the object in the 3D universe. That's it. Then after, we remove all the textures. So we keep everything white. We have to distinguish the sky and the floor, so we change the colors, but basically you just remove all the textures. And from here, we are going to use some other tools. It's still painting tools, but it's not dedicated to draw a character. It's more for creating textures, clouds, sand, and so on.
And you can create more of these on your own, I believe, right?
Sure, yes.
You can customize them, which is also very...
Exactly. Yes, we provide about 250 tools. So it's huge, but you can still do your own.
I want everything to look more like watercolor, so you can actually modify that to your style. So it's fantastic.
Exactly. And from here, you start painting layers after layers.
It's like you jump into the software and you have a brush and you paint on top of the thing. They see the software and they are turning around the camera around the rock and they're just painting the rock with a brush.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just trying to help visualize. Yeah.
Okay, look at... okay. This is the way it works.
Ahead of me.
So it's really accelerated. It's much slower if you do it directly.
Yeah, people is not as fast painting.
So basically, you have the tools at the bottom, and at the bottom left, you would find the layers, and just simply you can move around the rock and decide to paint. Yeah,
so it's not that there's like a light source exactly in the scene, or these are light source and you're even exaggerating more the shadows as you wish.
In fact, I did use real shadows calculated with the 3D, but it was really light, and then I painted over it, so you could feel it's painted at the end. You can select any object and decide to edit that object. So if you feel, for example, that the tree is not green enough, then it's easy to switch from one object to another one. So once we add this part of the software, we could paint. That was already a huge step. And the next step was to be able to do storyboarding.
Oh, I love that one.
So, storyboarding. Okay, so this is a drawing made onto a flat surface, classic drawing, okay? But
Yes.
since we are into the 3D environment, we can see that into a different way. To give you an idea, it was not done in this way, but it's just to explain. You can put the background anywhere on the 3D space, and you can paint onto another position. You can add a camera, and with a single click, you create a camera, a plane, a material, and a texture, everything you need to paint within the 3D space. If you work in the 3D environment, it's less intuitive than if you work on 2D, of course, but you can manage to do much more things. For example, this sequence is showing super basic 3D animation within a 3D map. So it was done by an animator called Antoine Antin. He's living in Japan, so you might want to.
Okay. I think I
discuss with
recognize the
him.
name. Okay.
So he started by just doing that. So it's super simple. And since we have the ability to add planes and to paint them, the next step was to do exactly the same sequence, but this time with painted characters.
He draw them based on the location of those figures.
Exactly.
Nice. An example of like using 3D as your baseline to then do like very movement accurate and like cinematic scenes, basically. That dog is adorable. Sorry. Nice. This is a pure animatic already.
So that was the second big step of preparing the software. Once we add that, we are almost ready to do animation. Well, for 2D animation, it's going to be a huge part. So
up to this moment, though, you were already in collaboration with multiple artists to like get like feedback and so on, right? Like the video you showed before.
Yeah. As soon as we got the storyboard available, we could start with earlier version of Odyssey, which were plugins for Unreal Engine. So we started with many artists to run some tests. For the animation part, we have more background because many people here comes from TVPaint, so that's the reason why we decided to split the software in many parts. So you can forget everything about video games, automotive, architecture, and everything. We replaced everything. So now you can decide between 3D drawing for backgrounds, storyboarding, what you have just seen a couple of minutes ago, 2D animation. We're going to cover this. 3D animation within a 3D environment, which is what we want to achieve, and even 3D tools. Yeah, so and then Odyssey can retrieve everything from Unreal Engine Marketplace. So, for example, we decided to use this asset as an example. This is called Tokyo Street. You can find it in the Unreal Engine Marketplace. And well, you can load the map. So it's going to be a whole city, and each object can be changed. You can rotate the object. You can move entire buildings. So the very interesting part is the lighting. You don't have to wait for calculation. If you want to change the position of the sun, then everything is instant. And finally, from here, you create your keyframes, because the first thing you want to do is your storyboard. Within a board sequence, you can create shots and everything needed for painting. So you can walk in the street and put your camera where exactly you want to view something. And it's going to create keyframes for you every time it's relevant. You can also create keyframes when you want, Yeah, this is it. And if you play the animation, you can move from keyframe to keyframe, and then after you can just play the animation, and you are moving. So now, if we have 3D objects, so say we would like to add a car, and in the same way we added keyframes of the camera, we are going to add keyframes for the minivan. It's not going to be a super great animation, okay? It's just to explain how it works. Yeah, and now we can ask again to have the point of view of the camera, and then now you see just the car.
Okay.
So for this part, we didn't have much to do because everything was already within Unreal Engine. And now this is our development, which is drawing on a plane to have characters and to start storyboarding and then animating.
The last step, sort of.
So here you can select the plane, you select the drawing mode.
Yeah, and you can have like folders with multiple layers inside and all the things, like Photoshop with effects, like multiply.
Blend modes, setting up the opacity, masks, and so on. Or maybe masks.
Not masks.
It's going to arrive into the next versions. Sometimes I'm just mixing what I do every day and what is on the market, and
trust me, I do understand.
And yeah. The fact is, the dog is
floating around.
Yeah, so it's not good. So we need to fix that. And we have an option which is called plane distance. So it's going to adjust the plane position regarding to the camera. When you will look at the drawing, it's still going to be the same.
Interesting.
It will adjust the size of the plane according to the distance of the camera. And then you have your animatic. Yeah, so now for the cat is it's another process. So we do the same, we just decide to adjust the distance of the plane. I can now enter into my shot and decide to add keyframes to the plane. So in that way, the plane will move. And the plane won't stay in front of the camera anymore.
So you're trying to go for a software that does everything from the storyboard to the final rendering to go to like YouTube or big screen or whatever. It's all in the same software, like step by step, adding all the features.
And so something we worked on is the PDF file format. Because in Japan, you cannot work if you don't have the right PDF file. It's something we learned a couple of years ago.
No comments.
You need that layout, and if you don't have that layout, it's
the world ends. I actually like it, but there's other ways.
So you can decide the name of your studio, how many images you want to have, if you want to add some action dialogue, and many, many more things with a lot of customization. From this, we can jump into 2D animation. So there are different ways to work on this. Here I just did open 2D animation asset. So you jump into a 2D animation interface with layers. So I guess if you know TVPaint, if you know Clip Studio Paint or Krita or many other software, we all more or less work in the same way with the timeline, layers, images. So we can add exposure, we can remove exposure. At the moment, there is no thumbnails in the images, but it's going to arrive soon. We have a light table, which is
and you can decide how much it shows each single drawing. That's interesting.
It's just below the layers. It's more interesting in this way. That the blend modes, so there are plenty of.
Yeah, I think we're fine.
And we do have vector-based animation as well. So this is a dog.
Sorry.
You can decide to tweak the lines in so many ways, and every time the color will adjust.
Yeah, I saw that.
Really
useful.
You won't have that in bitmap. Once you have all those tools, you are okay. It's really, really good steps, and you are pretty close to the release. And yeah, this is the final result with all the shots we have created. We added a soundtrack, and you can see we replaced the storyboard drawing by the animation. Another possibility was to animate directly within the 3D environment and not outside completely.
That's nice.
Yeah, we can change the color of 2D animation. If you jump into the same 3D map, but in night, you might have problems with the colors. You can't see anymore the dog, so you need to adapt. You need to change it, because otherwise you won't be able to see it again. And for this, we use palettes, color palettes. The dog is now gray, and if you save it and switch back, we are now going to see it again.
And all in between, and everything changed to gray.
Yeah, it's because of the real-time thing. Once you change something, everything is instant. This is it. Well, you have the basics of how it works. We can go deeper, but I think
but let's not for like timing and to wrap up like the content of the stream. But I'm really interested, and like I'm also scared because it's so much bigger than what I'm used to work with. And it's like, wow. Anyway, let's take
no problem. I think I covered everything about the software, so we were fine.
Okay, thank you so much for being with us today and for sharing. Again, everyone, you'll have links for people is loving also in the chat. You'll have links to find him and to find the software in in description of the video. If you're watching the recording, feel free to leave comments. If you have questions exactly regarding like very technical for the software, please ask them directly. Go to the Praxinus website or the Odyssey website and like actually contact them. Otherwise, I will not be able to help. So I guess that's it for today. Thank you so much for your time, and please have a very good night. Is it already the day? Like, yeah.
Almost. I'm not sure I'm going to sleep today. Yeah, I didn't feel the time passing. So
that's the best. Okay. That's the best feeling. Thank you very much. I'm glad that was the time. Same. I still have so many things I like to talk about. I'm just trying to cool things down. All right. Good night, everybody, or good day, or good time zone.